Welcome to Kiwi Bred, an up-to-date look at what's happening in the New Zealand thoroughbred breeding industry. On the show this week, we check on the progress of Ifraaj and inspect some stunning first season foals from Westbury Stud-based sire Redwood. But first, we return to Cambridge Stud, where the three-quarter brother of Darcy Brahma Burgundy's beginning his next chapter at Stud. Burgundy's the second of two new stallions lining up here at Cambridge Stud. How did that deal come about with Te Akau?
We've always loved the horse and we always were watching what he was going to do. Patrick, of course, we got power in March. We went to the Sydney sales, we came back and we found out that he could be joint ventured. So we sat down with Te Akau and their partners and did a very good deal for both parties, and he came to Cambridge Stud, and that's how we got him. And I'm so pleased that we've got him. He's just let down into the most magnificent individual. Everyone that sees him just sits back and goes, gosh. He's been very well priced, so all in all he was a late decision, and he's really going to be, I think, a really exciting prospect and future at Cambridge Stud.
Patrick was very keen to get the horse. What was it in particular that appealed?
When you look at his pedigree and you look at the type of horse that he is, those were very big factors. He's out of such a great family. I mean, the Peter and Philip Vella are arguably some of the greatest breeders in New Zealand of over many years. They really grow magnificent individuals. And Darcy Brahma arguably is the most promising young sire in New Zealand, and to be a three-quarter brother to him, and being by Redwood's choice, and look what his sons are doing, not a single doubt. Stratum's just flying, you know, all the things are really positive for him, and we thought that he's a real sprinting type of son of Redwood's choice. And when you look at his race performance and what he did, if he'd been a Group 1 winner, he probably wouldn't be here.
To quote Sir Patrick, he calls him an impact pedigree. Beautifully bred, you just mentioned Redwood's choice, out of Zabeel Mere Grand Eshazo. What is it that stands out in his bloodline?
Well, it's a proven cross, but when you actually see the horse walk and parade out there, you can see why he made the money he made at the sales. He's got a great conformation, he's got a great head, and with the genes that he has, he gives a good outcross with Redwood's and Zabeel to a lot of other brands of mares that you can have. And at Cambridge, we are looking to breed a really nice bunch of mares and some really proven mares to him as well. So he does a lot of his own advertising, that horse. $1.3 million yearling. $1 million looks? Yes, and you know, look, David Ellis has got an absolutely fantastic record of buying yearlings. And he's got a very good brand on him by the Vellas, of course. But when you look at him walk, he's got a short cannon bone, he's got a great gaskin, he's got a great eye, he's got a good overreach, and he's a real get up and go type of horse. And those, for the breeders in that price range, it's really going to give him every opportunity to get some runners up.
Burgundy was trained by Jason Bridgman. He recorded 7 wins from 12 starts, including 5 stakes victories. Despite never winning a Group 1, Jason Bridgman said he was the fastest horse he'd seen in his 25 years in the industry. That's pretty top praise.
Well, when you look at him and look at his race performances and what he did, you know, and he had, you know, shin soreness problems and things, otherwise he would have been a Group winning 2-year-old. He just went the wrong way in the Telegraph, and thank God he did, because if he probably won that, he wouldn't be here today. And he had a great turn of foot, and like the other horses, that was something that Patrick liked about him. And you know, he's just an impressive type. They don't have to be Group 1 horses to be great stallions. This horse has got looks, he's got presence, he's got a great pedigree, he has got a great syndicate behind him, and that's with David, with Te Akau supporting him, the Vellas supporting him, Cambridge Stud supporting him. And you know, for a horse that came so late in the season, and we started advertising him. He's been very, very well supported.
Since his announcement to stud, there's been a high level of interest. Can we talk what numbers he'll serve this year?
Look, remarkably, he will serve up to 100 mares, and he might even serve more. There are mares coming to him every day, and that's fantastic. And there are people, just everyday people that just like Burgundy. They come and see him, and it's great. And I just think the support that he's getting from us and the people around him, that's a huge response for a horse to get at this later stage. So, no, look, very excited to have him, and it's been great.
Fairly modest service fee of $7,000, Marcus. How was that set? Again,
Patrick was looking at the breeders, give them a return on their investment, and that's what he wanted to do. David and Patrick had many meetings about it, and it's worked. He's going to get the numbers to get a start, and he'll get the numbers next year as well. So again, it's all about numbers, representation, and getting them out in the marketplace. So at $7,000 for a horse with his pedigree and looks, he gives really good value.
Burgundy in front, a length and a half clear, make it two, he's too big, too strong and too good, Burgundy. Here's Burgundy chiming in, St. Yez and Burgundy, Antonio Lombardo, they're the three, St. Yez and Burgundy going to it on the outside, Burgundy.
Livermol continues to be Australia's leading coat conditioner for more than 50 years. Livermol is a proven formula with ingredients selected for their ability to improve coat and skin condition. Combine this with the Livermol grooming range for simply unbeatable results. For weanlings, yearlings, show, stud, stock or racing animals, whenever they need to look, feel or do their very best, Livermol is the secret. See the difference in just 14 days.
Mark Chitty's enthusiastic about the progress of his shuttle sire, Ifraaj. With fantastic results on the racetrack from his 3-year-old performers last season, the Haunui Farm sire looks to have it all ahead of him. Mark, he's just been crowned champion second season sire in New Zealand. Ifraaj has been shuttling to Haunui Farm from Kildangan since 2008. You must be delighted with the progression.
Absolutely. I mean, he had an inauspicious start, having been delayed coming to New Zealand in 2007 with the EI that struck in Australia. And we're now sitting in 2013, so it shows you, the stallion game is a long-term game, but he really has franked what we always hoped he would do, and from his first crop of 2-year-olds that then went to 3 in the 2012-13 season. He was really a revelation for a lot of people, and justified our, the horse coming to New Zealand.
He had early success in Europe, but you've just alluded to it. He really put his hand up with some outstanding 3-year-olds, namely Filly of the Year Fix, Southern Filly of the Year If I Can, I Can. What's that done for Ifraaj's profile?
Oh, it's done a lot. I think the Filly of the Year series is a time-honoured series, very, very prestigious, sponsored by New Zealand Bloodstock. And fillies that win that series, they don't just win a race. They generally, most of them have to win at least 3 of the series. And a filly like Fix was right up to Group 1 quality. I mean, her run subsequently in the Derby was enormous. 3 wide at the winning post, and went down just under a length. I think his performance with his 3-year-olds and his statistics were phenomenal. He ended up the season with a 14% stakes performance to runners ratio, which is a very high achievement.
Pretty impressive too on the 2-year-old front up in Europe. 16 stakes winners up there.
Yeah, he's had a great year this last year, and in fact, in 2013 he's had 19 stakes performers worldwide. He's currently the leading sire of 2-year-olds in Europe. headed by the very good filly in Rysena, who won the Moy-Clare Group 1.
Temperament-wise, Ifraaj is very relaxed. He's a pretty old hat at it now. What attributes is he passing on to his progeny?
I think that they're with a myriad of trainers, and what we're constantly hearing is that they're horses that are easy to have in the stable. They tend to be good doers, as we probably evidenced out in the paddock with he himself. You know, we've had a number of yearlings come through the various yearling drafts. They're easy horses to prepare, so they do have that temperament, and they look as though they're sound horses. So I think they're like he himself. He was at his best at 4 and 5 year old, and I expect his progeny to be the same.
Physically, Mark, Ifraaj is a very imposing type of horse. A lovely animated head, very strong through the shoulder. You've always said he could parade against the best in the world and hold his own.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've had a few open days in the last sort of 12 to 24 months, and you know, he's a horse that we can, you know, people can get their photos with him because he is a really impressive looking horse. I remember, you know, a couple of people, he's got a lot of, you know, comparing him to the great Zabeel, but Zabeel as a young horse was always a very imposing horse, and you know, people have suggested that this horse has those same sorts of attributes. He commands a stage. He's just a lovely looking horse to look at, and you know, he passes that on to his progeny.
So I guess on type, Mark, what kind of horse is he producing?
There's a little bit of sex deviation, I think. In terms of his fillies, he tends to have really good medium-sized fillies with good strong bodies, with a bit of length. Throughout all his progeny, they tend to be very good-headed horses with a good eye. If you're going to get a slightly bigger horse by him, you tend to see that in the colts. You know, his father, Zaphonic, was 17 hands. He's a big imposing horse himself, Ifraaj 16, 1.5. And probably what I've said consistently now to a lot of breeders is you're unlucky if you get a poor conformational type by him. He tends to, you know, he does represent the Mr. Prospector sire line, but he does throw well-conformed individuals that, you know, walk well, have a good amount of muscle on them come yearling sales time, and that's where you know, they've sold very well in the marketplace every year that they've gone to Karaka.
His oldest progeny here have just turned 4. Given his best race performances were as a 4 and 5 year old, you must feel like the best is yet to come.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that he had a lot of horses perform in the autumn as you know, as 3 year olds. Have not overly big race campaigns, and I think what you'll see is horses come out in the spring, summer, autumn racing, and really perform to the highest level yet. And you know, as I said earlier, they're with a number of different trainers. And I think that's one of the exciting things is that, you know, all the good ones just aren't in a couple of stables. They're spread right around, and consistently people are willing to tell us that they really like the horse that they have in their stable. So yeah, we think the best is yet to come, not only on, you know, with that 4 year old crop, but the crops that he has behind him, like that first crop. Certainly the breeders of New Zealand have given him every opportunity to succeed.
Service fee of $15,000. What sort of value for money are breeders getting at that price?
I think huge value with regard to Ifraaj. We were very mindful of you know, people's position and stakeholding in the breeding game going forward. It's not easy for people out there, and I think, you know, if you're looking to breed, if you're looking to breed at the premier level of the yearling sale, then, you know, the service fee of $15,000 is pretty light. But once you get to the second tier, you really don't want to be spending any more than $15,000. So I think for a horse that's got the runs on the board, who's new, who's fresh, you know, I think we've set him actually at a very fair price. A lot of people were surprised that we didn't put his fee up, but you know, I'm mindful of people being able to have an opportunity to either make money if they want to breed to the commercial market, or also if they want to breed to race, they haven't invested too much with their horse that's sitting in the paddock.
Ifraaj continues to kick goals here in the Southern Hemisphere. Well, it's now time for Kiwi Bred Abroad, where we link up with Mike Kneebone in Singapore.
Hi and welcome to another edition of Kiwi Bred Abroad. It's brought to you with the compliments of the Singapore Turf Club, who race from their base here at Kranji every Friday and Sunday. Well, this week we catch up with expat Kiwi trainer Bruce Marsh. He's had another wonderful season here in Singapore, and he is without doubt one of the best horsemen at Kranji.
Bruce, you saddled a Derby winner on arrival in 2005. He was actually your very first winner. How did that affect your career to start off here in Singapore?
I'd say that actually it didn't really help a lot, because I guess they probably thought, the local owners, that I had quite a few New Zealand horses coming over at that stage, and maybe I'd end up with too many New Zealand horses, and so I didn't really get the rub-offs that you would have thought you'd get in normal procedure, you know.
Yeah, it was only your 16th starter, so a lot of work was done by the horse prior to you getting here?
Yes, yeah. The horse was locally trained, and but they couldn't get it on the track, so it only used to trot around the village and swim, and so the girl I brought over, who's a good hurdle jockey now, Kayla, she did all the work on the horse, dressaged it and that, and we got it going on the track.
Well, it was a sensational start, but you'd say Race Ahead's Derby was probably more satisfying for you?
Lot more satisfying, yeah. We really set him for the race, and he obliged.
The horses that you've had at Kranji since you started, there's been some outstanding gallopers come through Tudor Lodge now. I'm guessing the 2-year-old champion and 3-year-old gingerbread man rates right up there, does he?
Oh, he was a great horse, and you know, every time you lined him up, he put in 110%, and yeah, no, and he should go on and lead them as a stallion.
Must be satisfying training a horse good enough to go to stud, Bruce.
Well, I've had, you know, quite a few go to stud. Never had a outstanding stallion, but it's just nice to see them get there.
More recently, one of the most improved horses in Singapore this year has to be Street Legal. Tell us a bit about his rise in class. It's been pretty awesome.
Well, I think October last year, he won a Class 5 1900 metre race on the Poly, and he just sort of boxed around there for a while, and then all of a sudden he started to hit his straps, and once he sort of got a taste of victory, he gave him a lot of encouragement. He had he was always in a good frame of mind after that, and he had the will to win, and he just hasn't looked back ever since.
Two other stable stars this season have been the two elusive cities, Hypernova and Supernova. Supernova especially, he's had 6 wins, and I guess his run in the Sarsfield Stakes was an outstanding group place effort. You must have been delighted with that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I've got a few elusive cities. They're all nice horses, go well, and he's the best of them, of course. And but he ran on the grass early stages when he'd won about 3 races, and he didn't fire that night, but I couldn't really blame the grass completely. I just think he was a bit off with the lights and everything, so I felt that it was he deserved another crack at it, and $200,000 race, it was a good race to try him in.
Bruce, you're situated in the newer stable blocks here at Kranji, and the horses seem very relaxed and happy. I know you like it down here?
Love it down here, actually. We've got a good system. We've got a 12-horse walker. Every horse goes on the walker before they work. They then walk up to the main track, in which I swim them on the way up there. They work, and then they swim on the way back. So you get a lot of work into them without them knowing it.
Fantastic. The staff, as we know, they play a big part, and your assistant Mark Sims looks well settled here at Tudor Lodge.
I think it'd be very hard to prize him out. He's a great man, and he's been very helpful.
Bruce, you won a Melbourne Cup aboard Silver Knight in 1971, but at Kranji every week it seems like a Melbourne Cup day to Team Tudor up there in the stands, and it's very noticeable how much you enjoy. It must be awesome having Kay involved with the many guests that you have here at Kranji and that family spirit.
Well, that's her role, and she's the whole time we've been married, she's always played that role, and she's very good at it, and she's loving the lifestyle as much as anyone could.
You're a great family man, Bruce. You must be very proud of Stephen's achievements back home in New Zealand as well. Yes,
yeah, no, he's done great. It was a fantastic thrill. Well, we've been there for quite a few of his wins. One of the first major ones was the Manawatu Cup with Cheetah. That was a terrific thrill. And that horse went on and won a few more group races, and then I was there for the Magic Million, so fantastic.
Well, it was good catching up with Bruce Marsh at his Tudor Lodge stables here at Cranji. That brings us to a close for our season 2 of the show. It's been great keeping you up to date with all the Kiwi Breds abroad up here in Southeast Asia. A big thank you to our main sponsors, the Singapore Turf Club. We'll see you next time.
Welcome back. Westbury Stud sire Redwood has his first crop of foals on the ground. I spoke to Russell Warwick about the outstanding offspring by the son of High Chaparral. Russell, we saw Redwood after he'd just come off the racetrack last year. Physically, how's he changed over the last 12 months?
We're absolutely delighted, Aleisha, with the way he's the transition from racehorse to stallion, and he's really let down. And as you'll see, he's now a magnificent looking horse. And he's an attractive horse last year, but this year he's a bull and he's let down, and he impresses a lot of people who either haven't seen him or people that saw him last year and looking again this year. Are really recognising the difference in the horse.
Westbury purchased Redwood last year. He's now permanently based in New Zealand. How does that advantage shareholders and breeders?
Well, I think we see it through Redwood's own sire, High Chaparral, who is owned outside of New Zealand, came here and stood here and was very successful. And the New Zealand breeding industry lost High Chaparral whilst we had him here for 4 or 5 years. We lost him ultimately to Australia, where the earning capacity was greater for him. So to have a horse like Redwood here, and hopefully he can reach the lofty heights of his sire, we're going to have him domiciled in New Zealand, and that money will be generated around New Zealand and back towards New Zealanders. So it's a huge asset to have equity in your horses, and we've got a great bunch of shareholders in Redwood, so those people can support the horse with confidence, knowing that he's going to stay here, and we can all work together in marketing his progeny and hopefully making him a successful sire.
Russell, being one of only 5 Group 1 winning entires by High Chaparral, how does his pedigree appeal to our breeders?
Well, very much so, because of the success of High Chaparral in this part of the world, and he's still got horses today. It's a done deal, and he's still got new crops coming through from his Australian crops, so there's going to be a number of High Chaparrals coming through, and Redwood being the only son of High Chaparral in New Zealand, there's obviously a commercial and marketing advantage there. But on his female side also, he's out of a Woodman mare. Woodman's had great success with the likes of Miss Finland and More Than Ready, both being out of Woodman mares, while the second dam, Aleisha, is a full sister to the European champion and Dancing Brave.
He was well travelled as a racehorse. He enjoyed his travelling. How's he settled in here as a stallion at Westbury?
Yeah, no, he's fantastic. He's a great doing horse, and terrific in the service barn, which is a big asset, and he covered 106 mares last year, and his fertility and his demeanour in the barn is first class, so it makes the job a lot easier, and to know you've got a fertile stallion to work with too, it takes a lot of the risk and issues out of the job about getting mares in foal.
His first crop of foals are now just hitting the ground. Has he delivered what you expected?
Well, look, we always said that if he could leave foals that looked like himself, we were on to a winner, and fortunately that's been the case. All the reports that we've had, not just from ones that born at Westbury, but all the other around the other farms too, is that they're very, very good foals. They've got muscle, they're very correct horses, and well balanced, and the strength, I guess, and has come through the evidence of breeders booking those mares back to Redwood for the second year in a row, and so to see those mares coming through the gate after having a Redwood last year is really confident and gives you the opportunity to bounce off some really nice foals.
You mentioned before you're getting some repeat business with breeders. How well patronised will he be this season?
He's got a very good shareholding, which most of those shareholders are all going to support the horse again, so that gives him a great walk-up start. And as I said, he did 106 mares last year. I'd anticipate he's going to do somewhere between 95 and 110 again this year, which for a staying stallion gives him a wonderful opportunity once it starts getting numbers on the track and horses out there. But I guess, you know, it's about taking one step at a time, and we've jumped the first hurdle, we've got the foals on the ground. The next year we'll be looking forward to getting those foals to yearling sales, and so the progression of trying to make him a successful sire.
Service fee, $12,500. How long do you expect Redwood to stay at that price, given what you've seen in his foals so far?
Well, look, you know, I think our adage is that basically once you set a stallion's fee, we try and keep that fee at that level until they prove themselves on the track. So I don't anticipate any of our stallions having hikes until they've got horses on the track, and Swiss Ace was a prime example of that this year, where they sold exceptionally well at the sales, and a lot of people expected us to put a service fee up, but we've maintained him at the same level where he has been all the way through, and that's sort of the policy that we've got here. I think it's a prudent one, and one that's fair on the people that have supported the horse all the way through.
Redwood certainly is producing a lovely type. Well, it's now time for this week's Pedigree of the Week, thanks to Dunstan Horse Feeds.
Kiramosa is the multi-dimensional pin-up horse for Palmerston North Stud Farm Wellfield Lodge. Not only did Wellfield co-breed the Group 1 Victoria Oaks winner, but the stud farm owns the filly and has a quarter share of the racing lease, and, perhaps most significantly, stands her sire Aleisha. O'Reilly stallion Aleisha was a 4-time Group 1 winner, delivering at racing's highest level as a 2, 3 and 4-year-old in New Zealand and in Australia. That he has been able to snare a classic winner at such an important carnival with his first crop of 3-year-olds speaks volumes about Aleisha's stud potential. Kiramosa had looked smart from the word go, winning on debut before finishing 4th in the Group 1 Manawatu Sires Produce Stakes at Awapuni at just her second start for Matamata trainer John Sargent. Taken to Australia to begin her 3-year-old campaign, Kiramosa came from last to win the Group 2 Wakeful Stakes at Flemington on Derby Day before her tenacious win in the Oaks. Bred by Wellfield as part of a foal share with brothers Tim and Murray Fleming, Kiramosa went to the Karaka yearling sales but failed to reach her reserve, with Wellfield buying out the Flemings and taking on board Sargent and John and Glenda Riley, and that group likely to opt to exercise their right of purchase in the near future. Kiramosa's dam is the unraced Dansk mare Fraser, a half-sister to Group 2 Tulloch Stakes winner Zariev out of the Group 1 1000 Guineas winner Olga's Pal. The pedigree page is poised to improve even further, with big things expected from Kiramosa at the Sydney Autumn Carnival as well. This week's Pedigree of the Week is brought to you by Dunstan Feeds.
Well, that brings to an end another episode of Kiwi Bred. Join me next week for our final show of the season, where I sit down with Murray Anderson, the breeder and co-owner of the phenomenal New Zealand bred Entire Done Deal. See you then.